Hello grade 4 learners! How's your self-learning module? Hope you are all doing fine. Today, we're going to learn another lesson in Science 4. Are you ready? I'm Teacher Karen Joy and join me to explore the world of science. So our objective in our lesson is describe how light, sound, and heat travel. This is our third lesson in Science 4, Quarter 3, Week 4 to 5. So kids, fasten your seatbelt as we travel in the world of light, sound, and heat. Are you bored staying inside your home? Do you want to travel? When you are traveling or going somewhere, what are the things you should consider? So traveling from one place to another is one of our daily activities. Sometimes when we travel, there are many things we should consider in order to reach our destination, like the distance, our speed, and how smooth or rough is our pathway. But have you ever wondered how light, sound, and heat travel too? Did you observe this on our surroundings? So here are some important details that we should know about this topic. So, we're going to learn or explore how light, sound, and heat travel. Have you ever tried aiming a flashlight at a distant star on a dark night? So many scientists have been studying the nature of light. Some say that light behaves like a wave. Other scientists say that light behaves like a group of particles. Light always travels in a straight line, going through a single medium. So any substance through which a light wave can travel. So what is light? So light is an energy that travels in waves and is produced by hot, energetic objects. So for example, the sun. So the sun is the main source of light and energy. So light ray always travel in a straight line when going through a single medium. So what are these mediums? Okay. So these are examples of light ray. It travels in a straight line. So when a light ray enters a denser medium like liquid, it travels more slowly. So we have here an example of a glass with water and a pencil. When light travels in water and glass, it produces a bent or distorted image. So when the light travels in water and glass, it produces a bent or distorted image. So light travels quickly on air. So the nature of light made inventors harness it to be used in various technologies like laser and optical fibers. So what is laser? Did you see laser on the TV or movie? Did you see a laser gun? How does it look like? So take a look on our example. So laser is a narrow but powerful beam of light. It can travel long distances and still focus on a small area. It has a great deal of heat energy. So that is how laser look like. How about optical fibers? So optical fiber made from transparent materials that transmit visible ultraviolet and infrared light. They are used in communication, medicine, and industry. So that picture is an example of optical fibers. So light cannot pass through in solid medium. or it cannot pass in an opaque object such as walls, rock, and other solid materials. So if you look at the picture, the light that comes from the flashlight cannot pass through in a wood. So remember that light cannot pass through in solid mediums. So that is about light. And how does sound travel? Do you know where the sound came from? So if sound travels, where would it travel better? Is it in solid, liquid, or gas? But before that, we will define first what is sound. Do you know what is sound? Okay, so sound, it is a form of energy that causes particles to vibrate back and forth. It travels through the air in waves. When something makes a sound, it shook the air molecules around and made them vibrate. So that is sound, a form of energy that causes particles to vibrate back and forth. So we have here an example. So sound waves are waves of vibration. So we can measure sound by its frequency and pitch. So for example, if a noise has a high pitch, it will have a higher frequency, like the whistle. It has a high pitch. It has a lower pitch. The frequency is also lower. So for an example, we have a big drum, the sound of a drum. So it produces lower pitch. The more energy used, the louder the sound. So the speed at which sound travels from one place to another depends upon the medium and how closely packed the molecules are in the matter. So a medium is a substance that allows sound waves to travel it. So we have three mediums. Can you think three mediums on how sound waves allows to travel it? Okay, so the first one, we have gas. So in gas, sound waves travel the slowest. In liquid, sound waves travel faster than in gas. And lastly, solid, sound waves travel the fastest. So we have here an example on how the particles are grouped together. So if you look at the example, the particles in the solid part, they are intact to each other. They are closer than in liquid or gas. It means vibrations are more easily passed from particles, so sound waves travel faster. So that is sound. Did you understand, kids? The particles in the solid is intact with each other, or they are closer. In liquid, the particles are apart to each other, and in gas, they are far to each other. The sound waves travel in gas is the slowest, the liquid is faster than gas, and the solid is the fastest. So sound waves travel fastest in solid. How about heat? How does heat travels, or how does heat being transferred? So heat is a thermal energy that is transit. Heat transfer takes place between objects of different temperature. Heat travels from hot temperature object to cold temperature object. So how can heat be transferred in three different ways? So there are three different ways how this heat is transferred. So we have conduction, convection, and radiation. So this is how heat flows. So if you look at this picture, so heat travels from hot temperature to cold temperature object. And we have three different ways on how heat can be transferred. So what is meant by conduction? So we have there an example on how heat is being transferred. So conduction is the transfer of heat through solid materials. It is the heat transfer through a substance or from a substance to another by direct contact. And then we have here conductors. These are the materials that allow heat to flow through easily. So we have here examples. So we have aluminum foil, copper wire, steel, glass, and silverware. If you observe these things, or if you hold these things, you can identify or you have observed that heat that passes in these things allows the heat energy to flow freely. But there are things that do not conduct heat easily or does not allow heat to travel. We call this as insulator or insulators. So these are the objects that does not allow heat energy to flow freely through it. So for example, we have the plastic, we have the wood, the rubber, the clothes, and the paper. So they are called insulators, or these are substances that do not conduct heat easily. The next way on how heat is being transferred is through convection. So what is convection? Okay, we have there an example. So convection is the transfer of heat through liquid and gases. So when liquid or gas is heated, the molecules of the heated part move faster and away from each other. So the warm liquid rises and cold liquid sinks. This movement continues until the liquid is evenly heated. Not only this, but we have also in our atmosphere. So when water is heated, the molecules at the bottom gets heated first. The heated molecules move and rise, pushing the top molecules which are cold to the bottom. The colder molecules sink, get heated at the bottom, and move up. Warm fluid rises and cold fluid sinks, forming currents. So always remember that the warm molecules rises and the cold molecules sinks, and they are forming currents. So this movement continues until the fluid is evenly heated and you see bubbles are forming. So we have here in the land and sea breezers. So you look at the picture. So the warm air rises and then expands and cools, and cool air sinks. So this is convection. So convection is the reason why we have wind movements and local breezes. During daytime, air over the land is heated. It rises and expands. Cool air over the sea moves toward the land. That's why you feel a refreshing breeze by the seaside during daytime. So that is all about convection. Did you understand, kids? So when warm air rises, it expands and cools. So cool air sinks, and that is called convection. So we feel a refreshing breeze by the seaside during daytime. So we have last, radiation. So radiation, it is the transfer of heat across empty space or vacuum in the form of waves. So if you look at the picture, waves are coming in the sun, and that is how radiation looks like. So what is radiant heat? So radiant heat is the heat we receive from the sun. So we call that as radiant heat. And then we have also thermal heat. So thermal heat, it is transferred between bodies of different temperature. So we have there the picture. So in the discussion, you were able to describe how light, sound, and heat travel. Did you understand our lesson? I hope so. So this time, let's summarize our lesson by filling up the blanks. Are you ready, kids? Okay, let's go. So fill in the blanks with the missing words. Choose the correct answer in the box. So we have 5 choices: straight, solid, air, glass, curve. So we're going to fill those words on the blanks. Get ready to answer. So light always travels in a blank line through a single medium. So our answer is straight line through a single medium in a media like. What is the answer? Solid. Light travels quickly while air and glass, light travels more slowly. So we have there the 4 answers. Let's repeat. So light always travels in a straight line through a single medium. In a media, the plural of medium, like solid, light travels quickly, but in air and glass, light travels more slowly. Did you get how light travels? Okay. Next, blank is a form of energy associated with the motion of particles and capable of being transmitted through solid by blank and blank by convection and through empty space by blank. So what do you think is our answer? So, heat is a form of energy associated with the motion of particles and capable of being transmitted through solid by conduction and liquid by convection and through empty space by radiation. So that is all about heat. It's a form of energy associated with the motion of particles and capable of being transmitted through solid by conduction and liquid by convection and through empty space by radiation. Always remember that heat is a form of energy that is transmitted. If in solid, we call it as conduction, and if in liquid, we call it by convection, and through empty space by radiation. And lastly, sound waves travel at different speed through different media. In solid, sound waves passes. What do you think is the answer? In solid, sound waves passes very fast, while in gas, sound waves travels. Yes, very good. Very slowly. Yan. Very good, kids. That is the summary of our lesson. So this time we're going to have an assessment. So you're going to tell true if the statement is correct and false if it is not correct. So we have here, number 1. Light travels in a straight line when it passes through a single medium. What do you think is our answer? It is true. Very good. How about number 2? The light that strikes a thick cardboard bends and finds another way to pass through it is what? That is false. Yes, very good. So the light will form a straight line. And then, number 3, light rays could not be black and they could pass through all types of material since they travel on a straight line. What do you think is our answer here? This is also false because it cannot pass in a solid material. Light rays cannot pass in a solid materials. So that is false. And number 4, a laser is a narrow but powerful beam of light capable of traveling far distance on a straight line. What is your answer here about laser? That is true. Very good. And last, optical fibers are used in communication, medicine, and industry. And this is also true. Okay. So that is about true and false. So we have another activity, another type of assessment. So complete the statement below by writing the correct word needed. Choose your answer inside the parentheses. So number 1. When the sound travels through solids, the vibration of the particles occurs fast, slowly. What do you think is the answer? When the sound travels through solids, the vibration of the particles occurs? Okay. Fast. Very good. Because the particles are intact to each other or they are close to each other. So sound travels very fast. Number 2. Sound travels through air. Very fast, very slowly. What do you think is the answer? Very slowly. Very good. Because sound travels in solid very fast, liquid faster than air. Okay. Number 3. The medium which can sound wave travel faster is in solid or liquid? It is solid. Okay. So, sound wave travels fastest in solid than liquid and gas. Number 4. When matter moves, vibrates, sound is produced. What do you think is the answer? When matter vibrates. Okay. So when matter vibrates, sound is produced. And last, the nature of material, person receiving it, affects the speed of sound as it travels. It affects the speed of sound as it travels. What do you think is the answer? The answer is the nature of material. Okay. So we have there. Did you get the correct answer, kids? Okay. Let's have another type of assessment. So the illustration on the right shows a lady making a noodle soup using a pan made of metal. Use this illustration to answer the questions below. So we have there a lady who is cooking a noodle soup. Okay, I give the correct answer in number 1. So, how does heat travel through the pan? If you look at the pan, So how does the heat travel? By conduction. Okay, so that is an example. This time you're going to answer what is number 2. You base your answer on the picture. How does heat travel through the soup? So, imagine, how does the heat travel through the soup? A. By radiation, B. By convection, C. By conduction, D. By vacuum. What do you think is the answer? Through convection. Yes, because when we talk about liquid, we call it as convection when the heat travel through liquid and gases. So you put that in your mind. When the heat travel in gas and liquid, we call it as convection. Okay? And next, we have number 3. In what direction does heat travel through the soup? From A. From top to bottom, B. From bottom to top, C. From side to side, D. From top to bottom. So in what direction does heat travel through the soup? From what? Okay, from bottom to top. So it starts from the bottom and it goes up. Yan. And then, number 4. Okay, so which of the following explains why the lady is able to hold the handle of the pan with her bare hands? So the handle is made of good insulator of heat. So that is the answer. The lady is able to hold the handle of the pan with her bare hands because if you look at the picture, the handle is made of good insulator. Insulators are substances that do not conduct heat easily or they do not absorb heat. Okay, so that is insulators. And number 5, what happens to the water in the pan when heated? A. It remains the same. B. It increases its water level. C. It increases in temperature. D. It decreases in temperature. So what do you think is the answer? What happens to the water in the pan when heated? It increases in temperature. You check your answers. What is your score? If you think your answers are wrong, you go back on our video and you watch it again. And if you got a high score, very good. It means you understand our lesson on how light, sound, and heat travel. Thank you kids for listening and watching our video. Till next time again, bye!